Eat that pussy. Eat that pussy. Of a 13-year-old? Are you kidding me?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do I have a good video for you today? I have a update, or my update, on what's going to happen to EDP445. And I wanted to do this video because I've been reading more about it on the internet, and I've been seeing some videos on it as well. And I did hear through the grapevine that another video is going to drop. But I wanted to give you my take, what would happen to somebody like this if they went to prison. And before I get started, please check me out on all my social media platforms, and they are in the links below. Check out my cigar, the Crooked Diamond. Great cigar, man. It's doing very well. Check out my book, Gangster Redemption. It's a great book, everybody. And also check out my cookbook. Yes, the cookbook has been delayed approximately a month because of a lot of different reasons, but it is coming soon. And yes, my book, Gangster Redemption. Please check those out. And I am going to get into this video right now. All right, first of all, let me explain who EDP445 is, if anybody doesn't know who he is. His name is Jidion Scott Wilson Eason. That's his name he goes by now. But he was actually born Bryant Teron Emerson Moreland. Bryant Moreland is what he was born. That's his real name. Why people change their name so much, I don't know. I could see if it would have meant the job or something like that. Obviously an acting or something like that, but I'm not seeing that anyway. EDP445. Well, what does EDP mean and stand for? Eat that pussy. Eat that pussy. Of a 13-year-old? Are you kidding me? If this is what this guy is about, man, he's got the road ahead of him. It's going to be tough. He supposedly, you heard me, has a girlfriend. In fact, people are questioning that because she has 6 posts, 1,000 subscribers, and only 6 posts. This girl, is she trolling for fans? Is she one of his friends? Who knows? Is she an AI? Who knows? This guy is a mystery. And with EDP, eat that pussy, this guy's going to really have a lot of explaining to do when he gets to the joint. All right, everybody, let me go into EDP445 and who he is. He is a controversial YouTuber who was caught in a sting operation by a website or YouTube channel called Predators. And what they've done is they did a sting on this guy who at the time was 30 years old. He's now 32 years old. And the girl was 13 years old. There was allegations of him texting or saying inappropriate things to younger people since about a year before that in 2020. So that came out. These Predator guys, I look at them as the Chris Hansons or the stuff who go after predators. And I'm all for those guys, to be honest, because I think you have to have some sickness in you to go want a 13-year-old as a 30-year-old man. Anyway, this is supposedly what he has done. He actually sent dick pics, and he sent other really inappropriate stuff, talked about inappropriate stuff, all the way up to fecal matter. Think of that. And I'm just going to let you stew on that for a minute. You want to talk sick. Don't get me wrong. Everybody knows how I am about everything. And I am a person, one, who don't believe in accusing someone of something unless there's a little bit more evidence than you can believe. Well, there is evidence. There is stuff out on, at least on YouTube. Do I believe it was AI generated? No. Do I believe it's true? Yes. And until he is convicted, the reason he has not been arrested or even charged in any of these crimes is because the cops didn't do that themselves. There was no cop there. They don't know. When they set up a sting operation, it's not by a website called Predators Poachers or anything like that. It's the police who are set there with warrants, who are set there to look through things, who have hidden cameras that are verified, a whole bunch of stuff that they have to set up that's a lot more legal than some predator poachers or some website, because you don't know if those predator poachers or any websites are just doing it for views. And now in the new age we're in with AI and all of that kind of stuff. And I've heard Joe Rogan's voice was used illegally, and a lot of YouTubers are used illegally. And believe me, there's enough out there for my voice to be used illegally. And this guy, obviously, they had video of him going. Listen, I don't care what you do. If a 13-year-old texts you and there's any sexual kind of talk involved, and he goes there, whether he touched her or not, I never believe it's the first time they did that. So I don't know how sick this dude is, this EDP dude. But he gained notoriety for being a mukbang, big Philadelphia Eagles fan. He posted all about, he was a loud, obnoxious guy. He got a following, and he had a pretty good following. He had about 2 million YouTube subscribers. He was on all social media. He was even on to the point where he was on Tosh, if anybody remembers that show on Comedy Central. Tosh, the comedian, he's actually from here, Florida, from Titusville, Florida. But he was on that show as well. So anyway, this guy got caught in this sting, and now what do I think is going to happen to this guy? First of all, I heard rumor that maybe he was caught again or something of that nature. If that is true, by even another YouTuber or whoever catches him, I will look at that and analyze that video as well. And I'll tell you why. Sometimes we as citizens have to help the police in that regard. And I don't believe in protecting anybody who attacks underage people or elderly for that matter. I take care of my mom, who's a 90-year-old woman, and I couldn't even imagine if somebody did something to my mother or a young kid who is not able to make proper decisions. So don't anybody out there tell me, oh, she knew what she was doing. No, she didn't. And there's a reason. In fact, I did the law so much, 10 years of the law. There's actually a different law if you do something to somebody who's under 12. There's actually different laws on the books. So if you abuse somebody who's 10 years old compared to abusing someone who's 14 years old, it is a difference. It's a different crime. But from a 14-year-old to a 10-year-old, obviously, is a maturity level, but no 14-year-old or 15-year-old is capable of giving consent to a 30-year-old man. And if a 30-year-old man does that to anybody, he deserves whatever's coming to him. And here's what I'm going to tell you is going to happen. This man, EDP, gets caught legally. And I hope he does if this is what is going on. And I'll always emphasize that, if this is what is going on. This man should be pulled through the ringer worse than I ever was pulled. I was pulled through the ringer because I wouldn't rat. And I wouldn't rat on other criminals. And I'm talking about, and I could say it what it is, my crimes, and I'm going to say this, and some people I'll get pushback, honorable crimes. If there is such word as honorable crime. But when you start attacking and you start putting a young person like that in jeopardy that way, you're scarring them for life and you're ruining them for life. And what in your head, what mental problem is in your head that a 13-year-old could excite you as a man? It boggles my mind. And I'm not talking about a 14 or a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. That's all normal. That's a process of growing up. I am talking about a 30-year-old man with a 13-year-old woman. So let's put it this way. I'm telling you what I believe and what gets me mad, and it is what it is, okay? Now, let's go into what would happen to this guy if he goes to prison. First of all, he is going to be probably recognized now that he was on the internet, and a lot of people understand, even though they don't have the internet in there, they're going to figure out quite quickly what this guy did and what happened. He's going to be like Jared. I think he's going to be, first of all, probably be sent to a prison. It doesn't sound like there's violence involved. That's one thing. But to me, it's violent, period, doing what he's done. But if it's his first time conviction and anything with the law, depending on how many years he gets, it will depend on what facility he goes to. A lot of times they go to a low security facility, which has fences and barbed wire and double fences and all of that kind of stuff, but they don't have as many violent criminals as a penitentiary. But he will be shaken down for money. He will be the bitch boy because there are people in there who have kids. When I was in prison, I had a 13-year-old son. I had actually 7-year-old, but he all the way through 18. So when he was 13, one of my biggest fears was something happening to my kids when I was in there, something like that. I also had a 15-month-old baby, and I got out, and she was 13. So if she was 10 and abused, I used to think of that, and I know what I would have did. But that's here nor there. So now he gets to prison. He's not going to have any support by guards. He's not going to have any support by the administration. What I mean by the administration, his counselor, his case manager, or his unit manager, or the administrative side of prisons, which is the warden, the associate warden, the food service staff, whatever different positions are in prison. Nobody likes or supports pedophiles, period. And I'm glad about that. And when this guy, this fat pig, if it's all true, and right now I'm leaning towards it, and I am, because I'm a man who studies evidence. I'm a man who looks at evidence and weighs evidence. I'd be a great jurist, because we need to start holding people accountable for that kind of stuff. I am not talking about accusations of drug use, accusations of having wild orgies. Have fun. If you're a 19, 18, 20, 25-year-old person, do whatever you want. Just don't hurt any other people. Don't force somebody. Don't rape somebody. Don't do something against somebody's will. Other than that, have fun. But when it comes to underage people, stop. If you have that kind of disease, you better get help, or you better give yourself a lobotomy. Or, hate to say it, I couldn't live with myself. I'd blow my brains out. Sorry, just me. I know it's wrong to request anybody to kill themselves, but listen, how do you do something like that to another human being? And again, consenting adults, have fun, and I mean that. And there is a border. There is a line. Let me tell you how respectful of the line I am. If there is somebody who's 19 or 20, but not of the mental sound mind to make a positive choice, a sexual choice, or whatever it is, then to me that's either rape, or that is just as bad as getting a person who's 12 years old. I personally would never, ever, and I've been in situations where there were people inebriated so bad, I am not going to take advantage of a person. I'm not going to do something to a person who is unwilling or unknowing what is going on. So let's get it clear what I believe and what I think is going to happen to this kid. The first time this kid's on Con Air, it's going to be the biggest wake-up call of his life if it's federal. I don't think it's going to be federal unless he takes one of these kids across state lines, or he drives across state lines and meets someone. Bring in the federal government involved, because you're crossing state lines. Do I think it's a state crime? In some states, he's from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is one of the, we call them prison states. They have 43 private facilities, privately run, contract facilities, 23 state-run facilities, I think one juvenile, or one to five juveniles, and a bunch of boot camps and stuff for juvenile offenders. Well, this guy's 30. He's going to a place that's pretty bad in Pennsylvania, and like I said, it's a prison state. Nobody's going to care. He's going to be labeled a pedophile and be on a registry for the rest of his life, even when he gets out. And yes, he's going to get out. Unless he kills somebody or does something, these pedophiles do get out. It used to piss me off and piss my family off that I used to get more time than them. So he's going to get out, but he will be under the thumb of a lot of agencies because of what he's done. I want to thank Discord. I went on Discord myself, asked a few questions earlier. I actually did an interview on Discord, so I know Discord is being more active for a lot of things. I know it's big in gaming. And I want to thank my very active and very strong Discord community. Thank you, guys. Also, what's going to happen to this guy by even his cellmate? If you didn't hear the story, my own brother, was in a low facility. And he ended up finding out that one of the cellies he was with, because they had multiple people in what's called a group cell, was a pedophile. And my brother went to the counselor and said, listen, get this pedophile away from me. Get him out of here. And then the counselor said to my brother, I don't know who you think you are, Lawton. You don't run this prison. We do. You got to live with him. Well, my brother didn't have to live with him. My brother took a lock, put it on the end of a belt, and smashed and beat this guy till he was bloody. He had to do what he had to do. In prison, if you don't know who your cellie is, or if you find out, listen, if you find out your cellie is a pedophile, first thing you do is hit the road, Jack. You know, you're going up top, they call it, which means you're going to the hole. Low facilities aren't as violent. They're not going to get stabbed and beaten half to death like they did in the penitentiaries where I was at. But they will be held. Because you don't want to live with somebody like that. A cellmate doesn't want to. Listen, I don't know anybody who wants to live with a guy. What story is he going to tell you? How he molested a 13-year-old? What excuse do you have for that? I don't know it. Listen, criminals have it's called honor amongst thieves. We have a code of criminal ethics, if you want to call them. They're just ours. Now, in this case, his cellie is going to treat him like shit if he finds out, and he will find out. So this guy, no matter how much time he does get, if he gets caught, he's going to have a hard time getting along in prison with anybody. Second, where's he going to work in prison? You know, you do have to work in prison. You have to either work on the yard, you have to work in the yard cleaning stuff, you have to work on the compound. If you're up north shoveling snow or picking up trash, you have to work in the kitchen as a food service employee. You have to work in the library. You have to work in the unit as an orderly, they call it, cleaning up, doing the showers. Everybody has to work. Well, do you want to work with a guy like this? Listen, if I worked with someone like this and we found out, first of all, penitentiaries are different, so I'm not going to get into that. But even a low, it's going to get to the point where something happens. How would you like to be home and get a phone call and find out your kid was raped or abused by a priest or whoever else these sick MFs do? Tell you what'll happen. You'll look at this guy right away, and if you know it's him, it's going to go through your mind how I'm going to kill this guy. Because it's the hardest part of prison is thinking about your own kids, and everybody does have kids. So he's going to have a very hard time even working in prison. As far as recreation, you get to go to the yard, you get to play basketball, you get to, run track, play whatever games they have, pinochle tournaments and spades and whatever. He's not going to play with anybody who's not a pedophile himself. And I used to think, if I was ever in one of those lows, I would go nuts. Because I was in what they call penitentiaries, which is maximum security prisons. And when we found out somebody was a pedophile, and I used to do the paperwork for it, I seen a buffer machine, those heavy floor buffer, drop on a guy's head, cave his neck in, crumble to the ground. I've seen guys get beaten. Well, that was in a gang one. I've seen a guy get beaten so bad, and this was a pedophile, in Yazoo prison, Yazoo, Mississippi, and they were kicking him with boots, and the heavy boots, and his blood was shooting 6 feet in the air, hitting the wall, and I just turned away. He was done. He was gone. His teeth were on the floor, the works. They didn't kill him, but I bet he wished he was dead. So he's gonna have no friends, or if he does, it's other pedophiles. And again, just boggles my mind. What do you talk about? How to pick up 13-year-olds, how to text them better. This guy is gonna have a rough road ahead of him. You know what? I will sleep like a baby. I have the greatest heart and I have a lot of compassion for people. I have compassion for murderers. People make mistakes. They are a drug addict. They killed someone. They had a fit of temper. They had a fight and somebody died. Listen, I'm not saying that the guy's right, but I can have empathy for that guy. I just don't have empathy for child molesters and pedophiles. So wake up, Bryant Moreland. You are going to have a hell of a life to live. So go fuck yourself. In 2021, this guy's YouTube channels, all of them, he had a gaming channel, kind of like a eating channel or a food channel, and his main channel, were all shut down by YouTube. I think his other social media was I am hearing that he has a TikTok channel. If that's true, wow, TikTok is so out of whack in so many ways. They will ban Larry for talking about gambling or saying a few curse words, but let a guy of this magnitude be on their channel. Something's not right with TikTok. And if it's true, TikTok, go F yourself too. With that said, I am waiting to see what happens to this guy. I did hear rumors that something's coming out. We don't know. If it comes out, I will be commenting on it. With that said, everybody, please check me out on all the places. Check out the links below. Stay active, stay connected. Please post, share, and put your notifications on for this video. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that. We are moving forward in a lot of ways and having a lot of different content. Have a great day, everybody. Please stay safe. Give me your suggestions. Put them in videos. Email us. You know how to get a hold of me. Have a great day. Take care.